Spreadsheets also have tools to help you enter data or carry out multiple similar calculations really quickly. My favorite tool for this is called Autofill, and as you might expect, it allows you to automatically fill cells in your spreadsheet. Autofill can help you enter data because it's good at finding patterns along rows or columns. For example, let's say I'm entering a column of data that is increasing by the same amount in each subsequent row. In this spreadsheet, maybe my first value in the first column is 20. My next value is 25, and then it would be 30, and so on and so forth. But maybe I don't want to enter all of these by hand. Autofill will do this for me if I select 2 or more cells that contain the pattern. And once you've selected a couple cells, you can hover over the lower right-hand corner of the highlighted region until the cursor becomes a plus sign. Then you can simply click and drag the cursor into surrounding cells, and Autofill will try to figure out the pattern and it'll automatically fill the selected region. Here it does a good job. Autofill is also pretty good at duplicating values. For this, you select one cell that contains the value that you want to copy and paste into surrounding cells, and then you can autofill around that cell. This works vertically, and it also works horizontally. But I don't actually want those values spread out across the row, so I'm going to go ahead and undo the last action. Perhaps the most useful way to use autofill is to help you carry out several calculations all at once. For example, what if I wanted to multiply the values in the 2 columns for every single row in the spreadsheet? To do this, you simply have to create one cell with a formula that you want to duplicate. In this case, I have a formula that I created earlier that is multiplying the column value or the column A value by the column B value. And then we can see what happens when we autofill down. We got a whole column of calculations. And if we look closely, we'll see that each formula is slightly different based on the location of the destination cell. The value in cell C2 is A2 times B2. The value in cell C3 is A3 times B3. The values that are referenced move down the spreadsheet along with the location of the destination cell. It's worth pointing out that formulas will adapt if we autofill horizontally as well. If we were to autofill to the right, the cells being referenced in each calculation would move one or more column over based on the location of the destination cell. In this case, the letters would change rather than the numbers. So we can very easily calculate a column or a row of data using this feature, but you have to be careful to make sure that you're actually referencing the cells that you want to reference. For example, what if you wanted to multiply a whole column of numbers by a value that is located in just a single cell? For example, what if I deleted this column of data and I wanted to multiply all of the values in the first column by the single cell in the second column? If we use the autofill like we did before, we would get a bunch of zeros because we were referencing empty cells in the second column. Well, here's where another pro tip comes in. If you want to autofill formulas and you want to keep a column or row constant throughout all of the calculations, you can add a $sign in front of the column letter or the row number that you want to keep constant. For example, I want to carry out the same calculation as before, so I can start with a formula in my first row. And if I want to carry out similar calculations but keep referencing the first row for my second term in my calculation, I can simply add a $sign in front of that second row number. Then I can autofill down and my numbers look great. If you wanted to keep the column constant, you could add a $sign in front of the column letter. If you wanted to keep the column and the row constant across calculations, you could add a $sign in front of the column location and a $sign in front of the row location. You don't have to use this tool, but once you get comfortable with it, I think it'll change your life.